we'd like to welcome everyone here today for our series of A Year of Summer. So this is funded by the Government of Canada through the New Horizons for Seniors program, and we're doing activities that have a summery feel all year round. And so today we're really happy to have home economist Margaret Krause here to tell us about some salads that we can make in the summertime, just to change things up and eat healthy.
Thank you. So the truth is you can have salads anytime. We'll just say they're summery because they have that feel about them. Oh, hi, already. If you can't hear me, you just let me know. I think I speak up, but sometimes if I'm thinking about something else, my voice will drop. Also, I look over my glasses because I need them to read, but I can't focus very well out there with I'm not going to serve you a green tossed salad because everybody's had a lot of them, but I wanted to encourage you to make your own salad dressings because it's so easy and you can make so many variations. So this red wine vinaigrette in your handouts is probably one of the most basic, and there's several ways you can mix it up. The one I'm going to show you today is a way to emulsify the fat in it, and that way you get both the fat and the other ingredient, like the olive oil, rather. Calling it fat doesn't sound very good, does it? That's what it is. But so you get a taste of all the ingredients on all the lettuce or whatever greens you're using. Emulsifying is just mixing it up so that the little droplets of oil are suspended in the vinegar and so on. So you can do that with a blender, or you can do it with a whisk, which is what I'm going to do today. We're going to start with 1/4 of a cup of red wine vinegar. Turn this around. It's got measurements on every side. We'll go with 4 tablespoons, which is exactly the same thing. There. And put in a little bit of Dijon mustard. You can, if you want to, leave out the Dijon. It gives it a flavor that I enjoy, but I know some people aren't as fussy about it. But we'll put it in for now, for this one. And just a little bit of salt, which I have up here somewhere on one of these trays. Or not.
I see some right here.
Thank you. Just a little bit of salt. And I'll whisk these together. And the basic proportion for a vinaigrette is to use 3 parts of oil to 1 part of other liquid, whether it's vinegar or whether it's lemon juice, orange juice, whatever else you're using. So I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup of, not that, of olive oil. Yeah, 3 to 1. And the great thing about this basic recipe is you can change it so many ways. You can use a different type of vinegar. You could use white wine vinegar or apple cider vinegar, sherry vinegar, champagne vinegar, whatever you like, and you can change the oil too. If you prefer to not taste the olive oil, depending on what other ingredients are going to be in your salad, you can use one of the oils that doesn't have as strong a flavor, which would be canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. So to emulsify this oil, the best thing to do is to just dribble it in slowly, all the while beating with a whisk. Or you can do this using a blender or a hand blender, I presume, although I've never done it with a hand blender. Kind of noisy. You should be grateful I don't have a microphone because that would really be noisy with this. Kind of like when people make mayonnaise using a blender. Now you can see it's got a, sort of a milky appearance, a cloudy appearance. It's not the two separate things anymore. It's, well, you probably just can see the dish the way I was holding it. But, sorry, it's emulsified now. The fat is emulsified, and it will stay that way. It will hold for a while. You probably have to beat it up again if you leave it for a few days, and you can keep this in the fridge for a while. Another way to dress your salads using the same proportions of things is to put the greens in the bowl first, put your amount of oil over them and whatever, say, salt and pepper or that type of seasonings you want to add to it, and mix it, toss it so that all the leaves are coated in oil, and then add the vinegar. So there's all kinds of ways to do this, and there's all kinds of additions you can put in it. As I said, you can change the vinegar, you can change the oil. You can also add spices, or you can use fresh herbs in it. You can crush garlic, put that in it. You can use ginger, fresh ginger, which we're going to use in another recipe soon. So I just wanted to give you that basic recipe that is easy to make, easy to use yet.
This all salad doesn't have to be kept in the fridge, it can be kept in the oven.
This one, the way it is, well, you would keep the, if any of the ingredients need to be refrigerated, then it needs to be refrigerated. So we would keep mustard in the fridge, therefore we would keep this dressing in the fridge. If you just made it with the oil and vinegar, you keep it at room temperature, no problem. If you put garlic in it, or shallots or onions or anything, you need to keep it in the fridge, same with herbs. Any other questions, comments? Okay, let's move this one out of the way. Clean up a few of these things that I'm going to reuse. The next one I'm going to do is this ginger maple vinaigrette, and it's we're going to make a little a salad using fresh seasonal fruit. I've got some pears to use for this one, and the ginger flavor goes really well with pears. So this dressing can also be used. It's really good with like baby spinach and a smoked cheese. So it's kind of versatile. I like to use it and keep it in the fridge for when I want to use it. I think I've shown it here before, so some of you have seen this dressing before. Just bear with me. We'll use it with pears this time. I know I'm going to that here. This one doesn't have as much oil in it. It has far less oil in it, in fact. And it, with the fruit, I like the vinegar, the cider vinegar to be prominent in that. And it also helps to prevent the browning of fruit. So you could also use this with apples, fresh apples in season. Okay, now, so I use maple syrup in it for the dressing, or for the sweetener. This one is fairly sweet. And a quarter of a cup each of maple syrup and apple cider vinegar. I'm holding this up so I'll be looking straight on at the measurements. You can get quite a variation if you don't look directly at it. Apple cider vinegar. Another quarter cup. 1.5 tablespoons of canola oil is what I'm using. As I said, you could use any of the sort of neutral flavored oils.
Not olive oil?
You can use olive oil if you want to. This one is just, I like to use an oil that doesn't have much flavor for this one, so that the ginger and the apple cider vinegar and maple will be the prominent flavors. So this is a 1/2 tablespoon, so I'll put in 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. And I've washed the pears ahead of time, just in case you're wondering. You always wash vegetables and fruits before you use them, even if they come from your own garden, because you don't know what kind of critters have been around. Now, did I have my knife? Yes, I left my knife in. Thank you.
Is avocado oil neutral?
Does it taste neutral? I haven't used it. I don't know how strong flavored it is. Does it have a strong flavor, Rhoda?
I don't think it's very strong.
Yeah. It's,
But I'm not sure.
yeah.
Now, you did not emulsify that. Is that because there's so little oil in it?
Yeah, that's right. And I'm going to use it right away too. But I will whisk it together just before I put the fruit in. So I've got a red pear and a yellow pear, and I'm just going to, man, it's hard to keep them fresh, isn't it? I'm going to cut the cores out and just cut them into chunks.
How long will a salad dressing last in the fridge if it's one for the fridge?
Oh,
Like the prepared mustard one, to say, for example.
yeah, it says it'll last for a week, but they'll last a lot longer than that.
Okay.
Really.
And an oil one would last longer than that, wouldn't it? Like when we left in the town?
Probably, yeah. Eventually, you know, if it's in a really warm environment, sometimes an oil will get not a great taste to it. But yeah, they would last quite a while. Finished chopping this, and what I neglected to do is put in the ginger. You can use bottled ginger if you get that at the store. I usually just keep a chunk of ginger root in the freezer because it freezes really well and it's really easy to grate after, when it's frozen. You don't let it defrost, just freeze, grate it from frozen. I just use this little grater and I don't peel it back or anything. The skin of the ginger just peels back on its own when it's frozen. Grate it. I do, however, wash it. Okay, so how much of this go? 1.5 teaspoons. 1.5 teaspoons is the same as half a tablespoon. That's what I'll use. I will have way more dressing than I need for this. It'll keep it nice and keep the colors nice and fresh. You could have the pear samples if they're available.
Yes.
I like to put nuts on anything with pears also. I've got toasted walnuts, just a few on these, so I hope nobody's allergic to grapes, because if you are, you probably shouldn't eat this. You can use toasted almonds or cashews are really good with it. And I've also put some sharp cheese. Roquefort is really good. Blue cheese is really good with this. You've got ancient cheddar, dairy oil, local sharp cheddar with this one. If you are serving somebody who doesn't chew well, somebody who's older or younger and doesn't have very good teeth to chew with, you can take the peels off the pears. Otherwise, I think it's great to leave them on. You get extra fiber and color.
That's not as strong as I expected.
It's kind of mild. I think there's enough maple syrup in it that it kind of cuts into the
It's the
sharpness.
Yeah.
So, just, if I was going to serve it, I would put it in this, a clear bowl if I could to make it, to show off the colors. I didn't include a recipe for the salad with the pears because I figured if you have the dressing, you can wing it as far as what kind of fruit you'd like to put in and whether you want to add nuts or cheese to it.
The cheese is nice because it's a different, you're not expecting it.
Yeah, it is a different texture, isn't it? It's that softness in that. And if you're a blue cheese lover, blue cheese is really good with this. Okay, any other comments or questions about this one? Too sharp? Not sharp enough? Okay.
Apple cider vinegar, is there different strengths of it? Because you add it to things and sometimes it's nice and sometimes it's too much. Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah, it's a good question, Della, and I really don't know the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do other people find that when they put outside vinegar in some things, like if you're making something? Sometimes it's too much and sometimes it's...
I'm wondering if it's the brands. maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
That could be, because they probably all put different strength or whatever of, maybe
But that
find a
was
brand
nice.
that you like and stick with it, or, hard to say.
Same as the red wine vinegar, I find the same thing. Sometimes it's too strong, sometimes...
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It probably is a brand. If you are buying vinegar to make pickles and so on, like just white distilled vinegar, it shows the percentage of acetic acid on the bottle, but I've never looked for it on apple cider vinegar. Oh, this says 5% acetic acid, this one. And acetic acid is the vinegar ingredient. So maybe that's the thing to do. But, to be honest, I've never bought one of the fancy ones, like the boats one from the Annapolis Valley or anything. Have you?
No, I just buy the whatever I can in the store. My
Yeah.
husband goes through copious amounts of apple cider vinegar, so I buy like a big jug of it. He drinks it every day.
Does he drink it?
Yeah, straight.
That must have a kick to it.
I'd say.
Yeah.
The only thing I use it for is I put it in the slow cooker with the water when I have like a pork roast.
Right.
I put just a dribble in to kind of help the meat to break down, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it adds a flavor as well.
Okay. The next one we're going to do is barley and arugula one. I've got my things all mixed up there. There. What would you expect, eh? There. And I need to get another cutting board. Cutting board? Okay, so that fruit salad would be nice as a starter for a meal or with a lunch. And this salad here, the barley and arugula one, is a much heavier salad. It's one that you could use for a whole meal, basically. You could put I don't know, a few sliced tomatoes on the side, or I don't know, some cold chicken or whatever, but it really doesn't need much else to make it a meal. Barley is quite filling, and it's a nice, it's a healthy grain. The barley I'm using is not whole grain. You might have noticed when you're buying, if you buy barley, there's pearl barley and pot barley. And pot barley is much more of a whole grain. It doesn't have the husk on it, but it has the germ.
Psyllium?
I'm sorry?
Psyllium?
No, it doesn't have, as far as I know, barley doesn't have psyllium. But pearl barley is polished, it's got all the outer layer, the bran is what I was trying to think of, sorry. So, pot barley has the bran on it, not the husk. And pearl barley has no bran. And so it's not a whole grain, but it does have a healthy, it has beta glucans in it. And what that is a fiber, a soluble fiber, which is what we all need to be having in our meals every day. So although it's not a whole grain, it's very healthy grain. So when you cook it, it will cook up to about 4 times the volume. This recipe called for 1 cup of uncooked barley, and I ended up with 4 cups of cooked. So I will put that in this bowl. When you have to toss, it's a great idea to put them in a really big bowl. And then if you don't want them in that big bowl when you're serving it, you can put it into something else. But if you're anything like me, it ends up all over the place if you don't do that. So that's that. Now, arugula, I'm not sure, who's familiar with arugula? Everybody? It's got a kind of a sharp flavor. So this salad, I think, is great because it's got a little bit of everything. It's got sweet, like the red pepper is sweet. It's got sour. The lemon juice in the dressing is sour. It's got salty from the feta cheese. And it's got a little bit of spicy from the arugula. If you don't like it, you could use, certainly you could make this with a leafy lettuce mix. So I need to measure out 4 cups of this. I bought 2 little packages of it at the store, and it's kind of hit and miss. I bought them both the same time on the same day, and one of them was really good, really fresh, and the other one, not so good. So I'm glad I bought 2. I'm looking for a big measuring cup, excuse me. A big one. Yeah, I've got some over here.
Oh, yeah, she down here, you do cook.
Do you want us to set these around?
Sure, yeah. Sherry's going to serve these so that you can taste them while I'm making it. So this is baby arugula. You don't need to break it up or anything. It's pretty small. 4 cups here. And you might notice I've got paper towels. When I wash salad greens, I usually spin them dry, and then if I want to keep them in the fridge, I wrap them in either a clean kitchen towel or else paper towels, and it keeps them fresher than just putting them into plastic. This in here. This salad you could make, say, in the morning if you wanted to serve it at supper time. Or if you wanted to make it even earlier than that, I would just put the arugula in the last hour or 2. But the other ingredients are all fine. So chickpeas. Chickpeas are in a can like this. You're probably familiar with these. They're also called garbanzo beans. And you can cook your own from dry beans too if you want to. It's easy. I've got some red pepper, and storing red pepper, it's great to cut the ribs out, cut the seeds out, and just keep it in the fridge in a little container, again with some paper towel. Keeps it from getting, that gooey edge where it gets soft really fast. This kind of slows that down a little bit. So I need a cup of chickpeas, and that's half of the can drained. This is a 540 ml can. So I just used half of it for 1 cup. And you can freeze the other half if you want to. And then you'll have them for another time. They're pretty sturdy little things. They don't break down too much.
They don't get soft and mushy if you freeze them?
They'll be softer, but they won't be
Okay.
like horrible. So put these in. And now I'm going to chop this red pepper. I need about half a cup of that. I'm not sure, do you like the texture of the barley? Is it soft enough for you? The recipe tells, instructs you to just cook it until it's just barely tender. And some people would like it more tender, I suppose. I kind of like the chewiness myself. But again, all you have to do is cook it a little more if you prefer it softer. Also, you could use highlighted pepper in this. You can use yellow peppers or sweet orange peppers if you wanted to. You like that? I was hoping that I could let you try something that you might not be familiar with, make this a little more worthwhile. There's so many grains you can make salads from. Rice salads were popular at one time, but I haven't had them very much lately. There's also salads made with noodles, Asian flavored salads that have some soy sauce in them and that sort of flavoring. And wheat berries. Have you ever tried wheat berries? They're, you'd have to get them in a place like a health food store or a mail order from Spearville Mills or somewhere. But they're not dissimilar to barley. It's got that kind of a texture, and it's before the wheat is processed very much. That's what
I think I've got a bag of chickens.
you would cook it about the same way that you cook barley, but I can find this one. You remind me, Rhoda, I've got more. You can Google it, yeah. So there's half a cup of red peppers. We put half a cup of cucumber. I'm using English cucumber. You can use garden cucumbers if that's your preference.
I make one similar with quinoa.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much. You can do the same type of a thing with quinoa. There it is. So I'm racing to try and get this done before you finish your samples. It's not going to work, is it? And with this one, you don't even mix the dressing up ahead of time. You just put the dressing ingredients into the mix and toss them all together. Something to put my leftover cucumbers in. Thank you. Okay, a little bit of crumbled feta. The lady at the grocery store knows that this stuff leaks sometimes, so she packed it up for me in plastic. Generally, try to use as little plastic as possible, but sometimes when leaking things is the best option. So this one is made in Nova Scotia. It's Homestead brand. I don't know if you're like me, you always check labels and see where things are made. And anyway, this is made in Nova Scotia, so I figured that's about as close to home as we're going to get. And it crumbles nicely. And for the minced garlic, generally, to tell you the truth, I wouldn't measure a teaspoon of it. I would just crush one clove into it. You can be as precise as you like to be, of course, when you're doing it. Just bang it with the side of the knife to loosen the dry skin from it. That's bad. It's got a mark in it. That's better. You can use a garlic press, or you can mince it with your knife. And mincing is always, it means chopping it really fine, like in pieces about 1 millimeter in size. That's, chopping is bigger, mincing is smaller. There. Put that in. 1/4 cup each of olive oil and lemon juice. No, lemon juice. We'll start with the olive oil. Just enough. And the lemon juice, you can use fresh lemon juice, which I feel always tastes better, but you can also use bottled lemon juice. So I'm going to, I need 1/4 cup. A 1/4 cup is usually about what you get from a lemon. And as always, it depends on how juicy they are. Seeds, this is a really seedy one. Every now and then you get one that's not seedy at all. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Shaker. And again, you're way ahead of me, but just toss this together. I've seen salads like this at a party, like a big family party for somebody's, I'm trying to think, was it retirement, or was it just a get-together, or was it baptism? Something at my nephew's place anyway, where there was a whole assortment of salads, and it's really nice to have some different ones like this, not just a tossed green salad and a slaw, but it's, to have, this is a really good one to have at something like that. So if I was serving it, I would probably put it into a dish like this, but I'm saving this dish for the carrots. So you would just have a nice looking salad like this, and it's all colorful, and it's healthy, and it's not too hard to make. The make-ahead parts, you can, if you were going to be busy the day you're serving it, you can cook the barley ahead of time. You're going to rinse it in cold water anyway, so it won't all stick together. You can clean your salad greens, your arugula, and wrap them in a towel and keep them in the fridge. You can get the chickpeas ready by draining them and rinsing them and measuring, and then put them in a container. You can chop your vegetables even. It wouldn't hurt at all to chop the red peppers and the cucumber and keep them in containers overnight. And so you can pretty much do the whole thing in advance and just put it together the day you're going to serve it, which I think is another good quality in the salad. Okay,
So we'll
But this-
I'll share it.
I'll take
Thank
pictures.
you.
I forgot to take pictures.
I need to kind of regroup and tidy myself up because it's
If you
kind of-
need it a couple of days ahead, except for the cucumber and the red pepper, and this lettuce, you can make it a couple of days ahead, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
And mix it all together, because it wouldn't get any stronger lemon later.
No, actually, a lot of things like that taste better if they're dressed a little bit ahead of time, so the flavors all mingle nicely.
Just the cucumber gets soft if you did it 2 days
Yeah.
ahead, and the pepper, but the
Yeah.
other stuff would blend better, I think.
Yeah, I agree, though. That's right. So, the next one we're going to do is how's the time anyway?
Sarah,
10 o'clock.
Oh, too close. 10 after 2. So we're going to do this Middle Eastern carrot salad next.
And then comes first.
Give you a few minutes to relax there. Okay, I'm back. This is for the Middle Eastern carrot salad. And it's a little change. I know a lot of people enjoy the carrot salad made with tomato soup and that combination. It's like a tomatoey sauce over the sliced carrots. This one's made with grated carrots. I used a food processor to grate them. And a 2-pound bag gave me 2 batches of this salad.
You can buy them graded.
Pardon?
You can buy them graded.
You can buy them graded too, then you won't even have to do your own food processing and cleaning it up, which is really the harder part, eh? Okay, so I'll put this piece there.
Save your fingers.
So the recipe is 4 cups.
Yeah.
So would that be 1 pound then?
I believe so, yeah. I'm questioning myself, was it a 2 pound or a 3 pound bag? That's why I'm waffling a little. It's like that. Anyway,
Yeah, no, when you were talking about that, you said you used 2 pounds.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, lemon juice, I'll use bottled lemon juice for this one. And I'm gonna sprinkle 3 tablespoons of that over the salad. 1, 2, 3, and a little bit of canola oil. Again, use whatever oil you prefer to use for this. I prefer to find, there it is, my canola oil, and 3 tablespoons of that.
And Google says 1 pound of carrots is 3.5 cups of grated carrots.
So that's about right then,
Yeah.
this is 4 cups. Thank you, Google and Sherry. It's amazing what you can find out in just a moment, eh? Okay, now ground coriander seeds, just what you get as coriander at the store. And this is, I know anybody who's heard me before knows that I usually buy these in bulk so they don't sit too long. Because they do taste more like they're supposed to if they're fresh. Sometimes I say things, I have to confess, you know, I've got things in my spice drawer that are too old that I should have got rid of, and it can be disappointing if you do that.
Me too.
You too, I'm not the only one. Okay, so there's coriander and a little bit of salt. 1/4 teaspoon, which we'll say that's 1/4 teaspoon. And a little bit of fresh mint. If you've got it growing in your garden, you probably have more than you can use. I do. I should be drying it, I think. So I need to have
I was going to
2 teaspoons of fresh mint. And this is chopped fresh mint. If you're using dried mint, you'd actually use less. You need more of a fresher than you do of the dried. Smells so good, eh? And we're going to say a little parsley too. And 2 teaspoons of mint. 1, 2. And then a little bit of parsley. It's almost time to bring the parsley plant in from the garden, isn't it, before it freezes?
Earwigs take mine.
Earwigs eat everything.
Cursed earwigs. Yeah, they're bad this year, aren't they? I am really unhappy with those little critters.
Put soap around the area.
We've tried a lot of different things. There's just so many.
I'm going to ask you a question. Vegetable oil and canola oil, what's the big difference? Canola lighter, less taste?
Well, vegetable oil is a general term, and usually a blend, I think, that, you know, it could be corn oil, it could be a combination of different oils that you get in the store. And so there could well be canola oil in the vegetable oil that you get. But that's it. You just don't know what is in the vegetable oil.
I haven't seen as many canola fields this year.
Oh, that's interesting.
But in the last few years, you see a lot of them. I
Those
haven't
beautiful
seen
yellow
this year.
flowers. I don't know.
Maybe they're growing something else instead.
It seems to be corn.
Maybe.
There's corn.
And there's other green stuff, but you can't tell what it is.
Little
Is
kind
it
of that tall.
It might be, maybe it's
Soybeans.
soybean. That's what it is.
Soybeans have really taken off on the islands,
So maybe they're the soybeans now instead of canola.
Now I'm
Because
going
it's
to
like-
add a tablespoon of honey. You could use maple syrup, you could use sugar, just a little something to sweeten it. And again, look for island honey, not honey imported from China or wherever. And
it's less than maple syrup and more maple syrup
oh, the same. You know, it's a range of 1 to 2 tablespoons, and I just put in 1 tablespoon.
This one,
honey.
okay.
But, you know, I think it's a matter of taste more than anything. If you want that maple taste. I would have been smarter to mix this in a bigger bowl too.
Of course, I tend to mix it up.
We have this for you to taste as well. Yeah. Now, if you wanted to, you could also add ground cumin to this, which is a good Middle Eastern flavor. But this one is just flavored with herbs and a little bit of coriander and stuff. And do you know what coriander seeds are? It's like mature cilantro.
Oh.
So when cilantro goes to seed, those seeds are called coriander. Strangely enough.
You should just call them cilantro seeds.
You should, but they don't. It's just one of those conventions, eh?
Oh, I could have read it up with coleslaw.
Pardon?
I'd read it up with coleslaw.
Well, good. And this is one that you can definitely make ahead of time. Let the flavors blend in, you know? There. I think the little bits of green herbs in it really make it look nice too. You could, if you wanted to garnish it more, you could put a little row of parsley around the edges. Green onion, who said that? That's good. Yeah. Good plan.
So could you make this 1 or 2 days before?
You definitely make it 1 day before. I don't see any problem with making it 2 days before. It would certainly be food safe in the fridge. And the flavors would blend. I don't think there's enough sweetener in it that it would draw the juices out of the carrots and make them live. I think it'd still be crisp. Yeah? Now time to clean up again. Put one ingredient in. No, it's not in this one. What did I put?
It's in the next one.
It's in the next one. I got it on the wrong tray. That's what I did. So, let's pretend we didn't notice that. This last one is really a whole meal salad. It's salad niçoise, And that refers to Nice in France, which is in the south of France. And I wish I could tell you that I've been here to enjoy it in person, but no, I haven't. Yeah. And salad niçoise is great for this time of year because it uses all kinds of nice local foods that we have on hand, like potatoes and green beans. Well, I guess we're getting towards the end of the local green beans, but still some around. And of course it's, it's got eggs in it and green cherry tomatoes. Just a nice end of summer meal.
So Margaret's still wiping. She's back next Thursday to do French cooking. We also have a program on the go that's called A Year in France. So that got extended a year because of the pandemic. So we're trying to do French-related things. So next Thursday afternoon, if you haven't signed up. I think there's still a little bit of space left, unless they do strange things to our.
Could we sign up? If you have room.
Yeah, if you have room to.
I'll put a sheet out and you can sign names down, which is
Good enough.
better than me trying to remember.
Yeah.
So,
French cooking.
have I got everything? I just did. No. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to start with the salad greens again. I've just got mixed salad greens here. And
I like this one better.
these are, again, they're a little bruised. Just, they didn't have the best quality ones when I was shopping. We'll spread these out on this tray. You can use a platter or a nice tray like this to display it. When I'm saying like this, you probably can't see, but just a rectangular dish. And it calls for, I have 1 tin of tuna, and chunk light is what we use for this. It's more flavorful actually than the white albacore tuna, and it's also has less buildup of heavy metals in it, so it's a healthier choice in tuna. Yeah, healthier, less expensive, more flavorful. It's all good.
I always think I have to buy that white tuna.
You just, I picked the one that was packed in water, but you can get them packed in broth, packed in oil, whatever you like. And just drain it and break it up a little bit and place it in the center of the salad. There. And the potatoes, of course, I'm not cooking potatoes and beans for you now. It's already been done. These are in about 1-inch cubes and 1-inch pieces for the beans. And try not to overcook them, just till they're tender. And kind of spread them around. You could do this with frozen beans. They're never as good, I don't think.
Would that be about 2 cups?
A half pound, yeah, it'd be around.
Let's try that.
Well, how much does this hold on together? This would be